Hello coding stars, welcome to the Google Clone tutorial. In this video, we'll be using HTML, CSS, and just a little bit of JavaScript to clone the Google website. At the end, it's gonna look something like this. This looks like the real Google website, right? We'll be implementing the little details like the shadows on the icons and the underlines on the links when we put our mouse on them. When we search something like hello, it's gonna redirect to the actual Google search result. So, let's get it started. Looking at the project directory, we have images folder, and inside that we have the favicon and the logo images. Here we have the index.html file with the blank HTML template and the style.css file. So let's start by linking our CSS file into the HTML file. And then change the title to Google and link the favicon as well. Change the rel attribute to icon and add the directory of the favicon. Now inside the browser tab we have Google and our favicon image. So this is the website we're going to make. So looking at the website, we can divide this website into three big chunks. We have the header at the top, and the contents in the middle, and the footer at the bottom. So going back to the HTML, let's get the big structure first. So we have the header using the header tag, and the contents using the section tag, and the footer. So let's get started with the header first. So in the header, we have the navigation bar. So let's quickly code up the navigation bar first. Here we want to use this menu icon right here. For the icons, Font Awesome is the perfect website. So let's go to Google and search Font Awesome. And let's go into the website. Let's click sign in. And if you don't have an account, you can sign up. The free version of Font Awesome is enough for this tutorial. So when you signed up, let's click this user icon and click Kits. And click here. And let's copy the kit code. So going back to the HTML file, inside the head tag, let's paste the kit code. And let's go back to the Font Awesome website and search menu. This icon seems great, and let's copy it and go back to the website, in the HTML file, and just simply paste it here. And if you have a look at the website, here we have the icon. And let's continue. Now we are done with the header. Let's have a look at the contents part. So looking at our website, here is our contents part. So inside the contents part, we have this one big wrapper. And inside the wrapper, we have the logo and the search bar and the buttons and the language part. Let's go back to the HTML and code it up. Now we're done with the contents part. Let's have a look at the website for the footer part. So inside the footer, we have the upper footer and the lower footer. And inside the lower footer, we have the left side and the right side. Now let's go back to the HTML and code it up. And in both upper footer and the lower footer, we're going to add another class called footer contents. Now we are finished with the footer part. And yes, we are finished with the HTML. I know this does not look so good, but I promise you this will get better when we get to the CSS part. Okay, let's get started with the CSS. Let's go into the style.css file. Looking at the website, we really don't like the dots beside each of the list items. And also, we don't like to have the underlines and the purple colors for all the links, which are the A tags. So let's get rid of them. So for all list items, we want to disable the list style. Good, they're gone. And also for every A tag, we want to disable the text decoration. Awesome. For every element in the HTML file, we want them to have margin of 0 and the padding of 0, and also the box sizing property of border box. So what does it mean, box sizing property to be border box? According to the MDN website, the border box tells the browser to account for any border and padding in the values you specify for an element's width and height. So simply, when you have some sort of element with the height of 100 pixels, that means that height includes the padding and the border of the element. So we want all elements in our HTML file to have the box sizing property of border box. So returning to our CSS. So we want our body tag to have the font family of sans serif, and we want its height to fill the entire screen. So we want to make it display flex. So we want this to be a flex box and the flex direction column. Now, let's start styling our header. Before we style the menu icon and the user icon, if we have a look at the website, we can see that there are shadow effects when we hover over them. So let's go back to the HTML, wrap the icons with another div tag, and let's give them the class name of circle shadow. This looks good. Let's go back to the CSS file and continue styling. Now we've finished styling our header. So let's get rid of this red border. This looks awesome. Now let's start styling the content section. Now we've finished styling. The content section is looking pretty good now. So let's get rid of these boxes, the borders I mean. Now let's start styling the footer section of our website. Now we've finished styling our footer. Look at this. This is looking fantastic. However, this is not the end. Have a close look in the footer. When we resize our website to make it smaller, oh look, this is bad. This is not responsive at all. And also have a look at the search bar. It's cutting on the side. This is a bad design when it comes to mobile and tablets. So let's have a look what we want. If we have a look at the example website, it is fully responsive. The footer is relocating itself to match the view, and the search bar is shrinking with the size of the window. So let's go back to our CSS and work on the responsiveness. So we are going to alter some CSS properties and their values only when the screen width is less than 650 pixels. Now the search bar is looking good. And now the footer is looking good. Let's have a look at the website we created. This is looking amazing. But one more thing. In the actual Google website, when we search a term like hello, it redirects to the Google search results. Let's implement that. So going back to our clone website. Oh, we don't like this. We don't like the border when we click the search bar. So let's go and remove that. In the style.css file, let's go all the way up to the search bar. Here it is. This is looking better. So let's implement the search functionality. So we're going to create a new file called main.js. And we will link this main.js to our HTML file. So at the end of the head tag, let's add a script tag with the source attribute and the main.js. And don't forget to add the differ attribute. So the differ attributes make sure that the HTML page is loaded before the script runs. So this prevents the JavaScript referring to the DOM elements before they are loaded. Before we dive into the JavaScript, let's add an ID to our search input. So ID search input. And let's go into the main.js file, const search input, document query selector, and let's refer to the element with the ID of search input. Now let's implement the search function. So what this line of code does is that inside the input constant, we're going to store the value that's inside the input tag. When we search something on Google, like hello, we are redirected to a URL that looks something like this. So let's copy this. And let's type window.location.href and paste it inside this quotation marks as a string. Have a close look in this URL. We can see that this part and this part contains our search term. So let's alter this with the value inside the input. There you go. So let's add an event listener to our search input. So what this block of code does is that whenever a key down event happens, this function is going to run. But the search function is only going to run when the event code of the key down event is the enter. So let's go and see if this really works. So we are back to our website and let's try it. So let's search hello. Yay, it worked. Let's go back to our completed website and celebrate this completion. Good work! Before you go, just a final one more thing. After I finished recording, I found out there is a little problem in the responsiveness of our website when it comes to small mobiles. So I added a little more CSS and uploaded them on GitHub. So make sure to check out the source code in the description below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you liked it, don't forget to subscribe. Let's learn and code like a star.